Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Jose's Totally Rad Life. This video is going to be an introductory video. So a few years ago, I got this book. Says the 100 best-selling albums of the 80s. And over the course of, I'd say, since at least starting as far back as 2017, 2018, around that time frame, is when I really first started thinking about this, long before I even thought of starting my own YouTube channel. But I had this idea of hunting down some of the best-selling albums of that era on cassette. And all things considered, I'm very, very proud with the collection that I have amassed. So we're going to be taking a look at not only just taking a look at the 100 best-selling albums of the 80s, but for example, right here I have these Remember When pamphlets, a nostalgic look back in time. So it's 1980. So you got 1980, 1981, 1982, 1983, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, and 89. So I'm going to be utilizing both this book, these pamphlets, this book about the 20th century, since all of this happened before the internet. I really want to put you, the viewer, right front and center. And I have some more things in my room that I really want to show you guys that are going to help me to be able to really put you guys right front and center. So in this book talks about the politics and just history in general of the 20th century. So for example, this page starts 1980 to 1989. So I'm also going to be using the information in this book, as well as lots of magazines that I have in my room. I'm going to be using video clips from the internet. So like promotional videos, like the TV advertisements that would have been shown on television at the time of these albums' releases. I'm going to use those. Yeah, so come along with me.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Hey guys, it's Jose. I know a lot of you have been wanting to know how I keep my stereo system in such pristine order and how I keep it all looking so nice. So as of the video, it is going from Monday, June 30th to Tuesday to being Tuesday, July 1st, 2025. So here's a look at the service manual for the Sony TPS L2 Walkman. And then here is the service manual for my 1983 Sanyo RDS 40. Now, I have had this in my possession since at least 2018. So my junior year of high school, I had it refurbished. I got this from Record Vendors, by the way. That took me a little bit longer to get a hold of just because after the movie Guardians of the Galaxy came out, the price of it just went up really, really high. But in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how you can keep this operating for as long as possible. So here we have a audio head cleaner. If we take a close look here, it says insert hole wet type. So we're gonna need that. And here on my shelf, we have these 2 bottles of tape cleaning solution. So let me put my phone on the tripod and show you guys what my process is like. So you guys are going to see this device a lot in my upcoming series of videos as we count down the 100 best-selling albums of the 80s. We're going to use this device here for demonstration purposes in those videos. But in order to upkeep that, since this is a 40-year-old device, we are going to want to take the tape head care solution. We're also going to want to take this right here. And what you're going to want to do is not too much, but you're just going to want to put maybe, I don't know, like 1 or 2 drops on that, and we put it in here and press record. See, it's cleaning everything right now. For the Walkman, you also never want to store it with batteries in it for long periods of time, because what that does is it'll make it corrosive. And look at how clean those contacts are. This is the first generation Walkman from Japan from 1979. So what we're going to want to do is take this out, flip it, and repeat that same process on this side. So now that we've done that, we're going to want to power that off, turn that off, and then we're going to want to take the Walkman. I have 2 AA batteries here, and you're going to want to put those in like so. We're going to want to eject. We're going to want to eject the audio head cleaner. And just like we did with this device, we're going to want to do the same thing for the Walkman. So, once again, we are going to want to take this, and don't apply too much, just 1 or 2 drops. And we're gonna want to put it inside of here. So if you're wondering if you're ever trying to do this in the future and you're like, why isn't it closing? That's because you are going to want to, there's a little bracket right back here, right there. So you're going to want to hook the tape, the front of the tape right there, and you're going to want to push it in like that, and then it should close just like that. Should look just like this. And then we're going to want to press play. And what's happening right now, what's happening here is it is cleaning the pinch roller, the capstan, the playhead, and this is how I maintain my Sony Walkman. See, just like that. And then we're going to want to press this button, which will eject the cassette. And we're going to want to go ahead and repeat that process on the other side as well. So we just put 2 drops there. Push it in. And just like that, it is cleaning the Walkman. And then when it gets done here, you guys are going to see that button pop out. Just like that, indicating that it's done. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to eject it out of there. And this is just what I do. I just leave it open and let it dry, but you also want to take the batteries out since we're not going to be using it for a short bit. And we're going to want to leave that open just long enough to let it dry and air out. But that is a quick look on what you can do to preserve your old technology. And it only takes you look, that took me 7 minutes. So not terribly long. A reminder, take those batteries out. Do not leave them in there. That's horrible for your Walkman. Do not leave tapes in here. Do not leave tapes in here or in here. That will significantly decrease the lifespan of your cassettes. Alright, so we are going to want to take this lid and put it back on here so that way the solution doesn't dry out. Now I have seen people use rubbing alcohol to do this, and that is a huge no-no. You never ever want to use rubbing alcohol or any kind of cleaning alcohol to clean these, and I'll show you why. So when we open this up, if we look right down in there, I know it's kind of dusty and whatnot, but so if we look right down in there, you will see the pinch roller right there, and then the capstan right there. So that pinch roller right there is made out of rubber, and so is this one. So is that one. The reason you never ever want to use rubbing alcohol on these is because that stuff will dry it out quicker than anything. So a while back, you guys may remember me sharing a video called What's Inside. And in And in those videos, I share what's going on the inside of these devices. So since that's not typically something that you guys see every single day, I'm going to pull up those clips right now and show you guys what's going on inside of these devices and how it applies to what I have just shown you. I've spoken with my dad about this, and he said a common issue that happens with these old tape players is people will go for years and years without touching these machines, and then one day they'll go to put a tape in it and it's not playing. And one of the many reasons why that could be is because these belts that are inside, they're essentially like rubber bands, but they specify the needs of the particular machine that they're being used in. So you don't want to go sticking a rubber band in there. You want to make sure that you're getting the proper supplies needed. But what happens when these devices sit on a shelf and go unused is the belts that are inside will literally corrode away and just fall apart. It gets everywhere. It's a pain in the ass to clean up. I know a lot of people have been asking me in the comments how I maintain this equipment that's almost pushing 50 years old. It's getting harder and harder to come by people who actually know how to fix these devices. So I have the service manual for both this machine as well as the Sony Walkman. And I'm only in my 20s, but yet I understand how this technology works. I've looked at the schematics, I've looked at the blueprints, all of it, and I just love it. It's one thing to stream the music, but to listen to it how you guys would have done back in the day, it's a whole nother ball game. And a lot of the cassettes that I have were passed down to me by my parents and were the cassettes that they used and listened to way back when. I love this technology. Here's a look at the Sony TPS L2. This is the very first generation portable music player of its kind. So, you see people with their AirPods in or listening to music with Beats headphones or, whatever your preferred brand of headphones are. You see people listening to stuff on their phones with headphones. Where do you think that started? It really started with this device right here, the Sony Walkman. So replace the belts often. Don't leave the batteries inside. Make sure your tapes are rewound back to the beginning and don't store them near anything magnetic. Otherwise, they will get permanently erased. Lots of do's and don'ts when it comes to this, but it's very much worth it. I hope that this video has answered you guys' questions as to how I keep my tech, looking and functioning how it does. I'm sure that to most people, this commercial right here on your screen looks really silly, but I can't help but be amazed at what the Walkman did for my parents' generation. It was truly the first time that music was truly portable, and you could take it with you and have your own personal listening experience, like in this commercial here.
With a Sony Walkman.
The Sony Walkman is a tiny stereo cassette player with truly incredible sound.
You really feel the music, you really feel it, you really
Put on a Walkman and see the world in a whole new light.
Sony Walkman.
The Walkman from Sony, the one and only.
The next time that you're listening to something on your phone, just think about how far we've come. You know, we went from using vinyl to 8 tracks to cassettes, and then we went from using cassettes to using CDs, and then CDs paved the way for, you know, Napster, and allowed for sharing digital music files for free in the 90s with Napster. And then from Napster gave birth to things like Spotify and Apple Music and YouTube Music, you know, MP3s. You know, where would we be without MP3s? So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it for you. And yeah, this is just my way of saying thank you guys. By the way, one of my favorite YouTubers goes by the name of Techmoan, has a fantastic video called Cassettes Better Than You Don't Remember. I'd recommend going on over to his channel and checking him out. I was incredibly surprised with how successful my video on looking back at 1983 was. And so I recently was able to successfully customize my briefcase. So right there, it finally has a QR code for the channel. There's a Garbage Pail Kid sticker that says "No way, Jose." But so I brought my briefcase with me back to Hooters just to do a short video. I mean, look at that. I mean, right there. You know, I said it then, and I'll say it again. It says selling swag since 1983. Here we can see my copy of Pyromania on cassette from 1983. And then here you can see my 2022 edition of Def Leppard's album Diamond Star Halos, also on a cassette, which I think it's super cool. I just think it's crazy to see how far we've come, you know, from 1983. I mean, you look at all these cassettes that I have right here, and it's like you can listen to all of that music right there on that touchscreen. You know, touch tunes. You know, here's the Walkman right next to a modern cell phone, and it's like we can listen to all the music that you see right here with the touch of a finger in the palm of your hand. You know, all of those songs, you know, and then, you know, and then some. I think it's crazy, you know. Thank you guys so much for all of your love and support of the channel. I appreciate you guys. Please remember to hit like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on future videos. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.